Alright guys, so a bit of an update on the mower. I forgot what day it is now. As you saw from the last video, I was taking all this apart. I didn't film too much content. Obviously this stuff is quite boring. I basically just took everything apart. I've rust proofed it, wire walled it, and then painted it with anti-rust black paint. So this is basically the whole chassis here. I've even gone as far as the seat. All the springs, all the tensioners, all the brackets. I haven't done the bolts. It should look fine. Today's mission, I've basically used some paint stripper and I've tackled these fenders. Some of them are looking quite good. There is still quite a bit of yellow paint everywhere though. So I've come to the conclusion after using paint stripper that it's horrible stuff. I never want to use it again. So I'm only going to do the top surface. So all of these are going to be painted in a nice yellow. You can probably see the can just there. So paint these in a nice yellow. Obviously they're all back to metal, bare metal now. Again, bit of paint there. But yeah, so going to get painting all of this now in a nice yellow color, and then the other side I'm just going to paint black. What do we think of the color, guys? You'll be alright. This is piss yellow. Alright guys, just spent a good hour or so painting these up with a couple of rattler cans. This is the colour I was wanting, which was on top of the can. It kind of came out like a bit yellower, bit lighter, sorry. So it doesn't really matter. I still think it looks good for a good look of paint. As you can see, it's really showing up all the dents and creases and stuff. I'm not too worried about that. Shows authenticity, it's original. You know, I never wanted a perfect factory example. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Thankfully, the couple of cans I got did the whole thing. This isn't painted properly, but it's only the seat, so not really a visible area. Spent the most of the time on like the visible areas, which is the arches, that bit there, and that part, which I'm obviously gonna spend the most time looking at. But yeah, it came out pretty good. Now I'm gonna reassemble the chassis and let this dry for a couple of days. Okay, a couple more parts on. Got this board on, got this tensioner. Guys, so up fresh and early this morning. Still a little bit cold, but as you can see, most of the frame is back together. That's pretty much every little part has been restored. All I'm doing is I'm missing the belt from my drive. I'm missing the chain and sprocket that go here, obviously the engine, and then all the fairings that I've got that are all freshly painted. At the minute I'm just working on putting this seat back together. As you can see, that's all freshly painted, looking nice. I'll just show you in here. So here's all my fairings, obviously painted in that nice sun yellow. What I did do is I was sick of that yellow paint flaking everywhere. I was gonna strip the back of these and paint them properly, but to be honest, I just don't have the time. what I did is I took that black metal paint. All of this is going to be hidden, by the way. And I basically just filled in all of that just to stop the rust. Obviously it's not perfect. I'll probably give it another coat at another time. But yeah, all the fairings are the same. Black on the inside. Kind of looks like a bumblebee, to be fair. But like I said, it will stop all that rust. Today's mission, what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to reassemble everything. I'm actually going to put the engine back in here. I'm going to restore that at a later time, probably next week. I just want to have it all back together now, looking pretty, get some videos for you guys, maybe even take it for a drive, and then when I get some more time at the end of the week, I'll take that engine back off, give that a really good clean, a rebuild, and some paint. But yeah, it's looking really good. I'll just show you some little details here. Looks a bit shit with the condensation, I will be honest, but it all looks fresh. Alrighty, so just brought the engine back over. As you can see, little bits of rust everywhere, but she's back on. Basically the reassembly continues. Like I said, this weekend I'll pull that engine off individually. I'll get some heat-proof paint for all my exhaust, my carb. I'll paint the engine block, like all these little parts. Alrighty, so just bolted that engine back down. I've attached my electrics to the firewall here, and then I've got my 2 switches coming through, and obviously my power lead here. So just gonna get this top fairing on, and then I can put my steering wheel on, that rear fender, and then the seat as well. And she should be looking pretty complete. So it's all coming together now. Obviously got these fascias on, got my electrics wired back in, just popped this like trim back on. The drive belt's back on. I've got Jubilee clips either side of these nuts, because for some reason last time I was driving they'd unwind themselves, so these should just keep them in place. Give me a bit of adjustment as well with that clutch. Chain's back on, sprocket's back on. That belt's all hooked up to the engine, so is the cutter belt under there. So all the belts are hooked up, all the electrics are hooked up. Yeah, it's basically just the last 2 fascias to go back on, and then the seat, and then we'll see how she looks. And the steering wheel as well, can't forget the steering wheel. But so far looking good. A few chips in the paint where I haven't let it like dry properly. Actually that's just mud, that'll clean off. So a little bit gutted there, but hey, just popped that back, bit of metal on. Next will be the seat. All right guys, so just got that front fascia on, the steering wheel and the seat. And yeah, she is pretty much back together. That's all the frame and the panels and the seats and the steering all done. Basically all I got to do now is the engine. Like I said, I will take a bit of time to do that properly at the end of this week. Yeah, sprockets on. There's one thing left I got to do. So as I mentioned, I was having troubles with this thing, which is my throttle controller. I had to cut this down so short that now it doesn't even reach. I've got a new throttle cable. It is a newer one, like a plastic one. So I'm just gonna attempt to wire that up to this. I'll obviously have to make it shorter because it's about 1 meter. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I think it's looking pretty clean. Obviously I got to put the cutting deck back on, but I probably won't do that until I've redone the engine, because otherwise I'm just making more work for myself. Alrighty guys, so as mentioned, I had that long throttle cable. What I've done is I've cut it short. I had to make a little like kink here for it. Probably needs to be more like that way so it's straight. If I tuck it under there. There you go. So much smoother guys. Honestly, like the difference is unbelievable. So that should be really good when I'm actually running. I think what's next is I'm just gonna bolt that thing on here. Probably gonna start it up, take it for a bit of a drive. Alright guys, so just took it for a really good run and started sputtering. I've actually conked out in the middle of the woods now, so it's going to be a long push back. I don't know whether to get the 80 and chuck it in the back, but even that's going to be a nightmare. But yeah, it was running good, but yeah, it was just like pa 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 pa. So I just tuned the carb. Maybe I did something a little bit wrong, but all right guys, that's pretty much a wrap. So next steps is going to be that engine. I'll probably do a separate episode on that. I really need to get a battery so I can start and run it on its own without jump starting it. Gonna paint this black. There's a couple little things I need to paint black as well on the cut and deck, basically just where it joins to the frame. But yeah, she is looking absolutely spotless. I said I wasn't a fan of the color, but it's really starting to shine once it's got all these rubbers on, all these switches. Probably gonna swap this starter switch out, probably go for like a key system, just because I think it would be cool to have a little key ring. But yeah, she is looking absolutely mint. I really want to get some new wheels and tires for her, but I can't actually get the wheels off, neither the back or the front. So I'll come up with a solution for that when I get to it, but just wanted to show you a video of it looking pretty in the light. Nice. I've basically taken some measurements from all the little handles that I have. So I've got my parking brake, which is this one. I've then got my handbrake, which is this one. And then I've also got my throttle controller, which used to have a little wooden handle. I've designed all three of these. And I've actually got a really nice yellow color, which matches the paint that I used for the fairings. So all three handles. This one is my, which one is that? The clutch for the cutting deck. This one is for my throttle control, and then this one is for my handbrake. Purely for looks, I just think it will clean everything up, and also this one just gives me a bit more leverage when I'm controlling the idle speed of the engine. So let's get them printed, and we'll get them put onto the mower. So my handles have just finished up. I've used a step file for these rather than an STL to give it that really smooth curve. So let's go push these onto the mower. Okay, so this is my handbrake one, designed just to be a press fit. This is test number one. Oh, a bit more there. How good is that? Matches the color beautifully and on there nice and tight. So let's carry on getting the others on. Okay, so this is my cutting deck clutch. This one should, look at that. Beautiful. This is the one I'm most excited for. So this has a bit of a different profile. So hopefully, how good is that, guys? Just the little details I think make a huge difference, especially with that color matching I've got. That's so good. I might have to add a bit of super glue on there, but yeah, look at that, beautiful. So once again, she was running absolutely sweet. It just conked out in the woods again. I don't know what it is, like it starts to sputter. I feel like it's running out of fuel. What I did last time in the woods, I didn't tell you guys, is I just put a heap of fuel in. Figured if I was going uphill, it probably would have starved, but yeah, I don't know why it keeps conking out. It runs fine. Like I've genuinely been driving it for around half an hour, and then as soon as I get anywhere far away from my house, it just wants to die and leave me stranded. But yeah, a little bit of an update. We'll get it fixed. Alright guys, so I haven't taken many videos because this is the weather we're having currently. It's absolutely chucking it down for the past few days. Like the grass is just sodden wet. Basically what I've done is, you can probably see there the wheels. I tried to pump up one of the tires and I tried to pull the brass inflator valve out with a pair of pliers, and I accidentally crushed it. So I had to go get some new wheels. I basically went to Bunnings, and these are like trolley wheels for push trolleys. They were red, as you'll see from the previous videos, and I just painted them black. While I was there, I also painted that back wheel. I think they look really cool, they're like deep dish. So yeah, wheels and tires are done now as well. starting to look really good. I'm hoping tomorrow that my stickers are going to be here for the sides. I'll give it a bit of a polish, and yeah, I was hoping to get driving it today, but with this weather it's not looking very likely. I was actually trying to push it to jump start it from the Subaru again because of that battery, and I just got bogged in the grass. But yeah, she's looking really good, and hopefully I'll get some videos of it driving. I hate this weather. It's meant to be bloody winter.